Morning, everyone. Told you I'd be back. I did not end up waking up as early as I planned to, though, so sorry to those who thought I was going to be live at, 7, because I wasn't. I was sleeping. I got up at 6 first, but then my brain went, no, I'm going back to sleep. I'm tired. So let's see. We have no one here right now, which is okay. So we are going to keep reading. I'm going to make sure it's a good vibe for everyone. And we're just going to keep going from where we left off. So, I feel kind of stupid talking to myself right now. There's no one here. Hold on. Yeah, there's still no one here. Whatever. I'm just going to start reading. So, we finished almost half the book yesterday, and we will be finishing it today. So, yep. I'm just going to talk for a minute, and then I'm going to check stream to see if you guys can hear me okay, or if the music is too loud, if I need to turn it down. You guys can hear me okay, or if the music is too loud, if I need to turn it down. You guys can hear me okay, or if the music is too loud, if I need to turn it down. You know, I think that sounds good. Alright, so the next part is Sweetheart of the Song Tra Bong. Vietnam was full of strange stories. Some improbable, some well beyond that. But the stories that will last forever are those that swirl back and forth across the border between trivia and bedlam, the mad and the mundane. This one keeps returning to me. I heard it from Rat Kiley, who swore up and down to its truth, although in the end, I'll admit, that doesn't amount to much of a warranty. Among the men in Alpha Company, Rat had a reputation for exaggeration and overstatement. A compulsion to rev up the facts, and for most of us, it was normal procedure to discount 60 or 70% of anything he had to say. Night Foxy, I just started, so you are not late at all. I'm about to start the next one right after the dentist one. So we read Dentist yesterday, where they talked about, he passed out because of the dentist when he's in this war situation, and then he eventually went and just asked him to pull out a perfectly good tooth. We just finished that part yesterday, and now we're about to start the next section right here, which is Sweetheart of the Song Tra Bong. I just started it, but if you just got here, I'm more than happy to start over so that you get to hear it, since you were so kind yesterday and hung out the whole time. Also, I think I'm going to grab a blanket really quick because my room is a little bit cold. So welcome, and thank you for coming and hanging out again. I'm excited. This will be fun. I got a blanket because I'm cold. Alright, so let's start. A little reminder about what we've got for our annotation sticky notes. We have orange is for things that make me question. I do remember you were here last night. Purple is for intense emotion. Green is for important. Blue is for impactful. And purple is for rhetorical devices. So, actually, this is pink. This is purple. Pink is for rhetorical devices. And then I have my double entry reading journal right next to me as well. Since we're about to start a new one, I'm going to do a little squiggly line, and I put an entry in my double entry reading journal for every time I stop anything that makes me feel like I need to stop and say something, that's when I usually write something down there. And here are the annotations we got through yesterday, if you were here. Alright. Sweetheart of the Song Tra Bong. Vietnam was full of strange stories, some improbable, some well beyond that. But the stories that will last forever are those that swirl back and forth across the border between trivia and bedlam, the mad and the mundane. This one keeps returning to me. I heard it from Rat Kiley, who swore up and down to its truth, although in the end, I'll admit, that doesn't amount to much of a warranty. Among the men in Alpha Company, Rat had a reputation for exaggeration and overstatement. A compulsion to rev up the facts, and for most of us, it was normal procedure to discount 60 or 70% of anything he had to say. If Rat told you, for example, that he'd slept with 4 girls one night, you could figure that it was about a girl and a half. It wasn't a question of deceit. Just the opposite. He wanted to heat up the truth, to make it burn so hot that you would feel exactly what he felt. For Rat Kiley, I think, facts were formed by sensation, not the other way around. And when you listened to one of his stories, you'd find yourself performing rapid calculations in your head, subtracting superlatives? Superlatives? I don't know that word. Back to our little note thing. So I actually figured out yesterday that I have been doing the words, the way that I'm writing now, vocabulary words, I've been doing that wrong. I have to mark what page I got it from, and then I have to write down the sentence. So I'm going to write page 85. And I'm going to put in quotations, subtracting superlatives. There. So I have to collect at least 15 words. Okay. Figuring the square root of an absolute and then multiplying by maybe. Figuring out the square root of an absolute and then multiplying by maybe. That's funny. Still, with this particular story, Rat never backed down. He claimed to have witnessed the incident with his own eyes, and I remember how upset he became one morning when Mitchell Sanders challenged him on a basic premise. "It can't happen," Sanders said. "Nobody ships his honey over to Nam. It don't ring true. I mean, you can't just import your own personal poontang. Rat shook his head. "I saw it, man. I was there. This guy did it." "His girlfriend?" "Straight on. It's a fact." Rat's voice squeaked a little. He paused and looked at his hands. "Listen, the guy sends her the money, flies her over. This cute blonde, just a kid, just barely out of high school. She shows up with a suitcase and one of those plastic cosmetic bags. Comes right out of the boonies. I swear to God, man. She got the culottes. White culottes and this sexy pink sweater. There she is." I remember Mitchell Sanders folding his arms. He looked over at me for a second, not quite grinning, not saying a word, but I could read the amusement in his eyes. Rat saw it too. "No lie," he muttered. "Culottes. Culottes. I think that's the word. Culottes. That's a weird word, though. When he first arrived in country, before joining Alpha Company, Rat had been assigned to a small medical detachment up the mountains west of Chu Lai, near the village of Tra Bong, where along the 8 other enlisted men, he ran an aid station that provided basic energy and trauma care. Casualties were flown in by helicopter, stabilized, then shipped out to hospitals in Chu Lai or Da Nang. It was gory work, Rat said, but predictable. Amputations, mostly legs and feet. No, amputations mostly, legs and feet. The area was heavily mined, thick with bouncing betties and homemade booby traps. For a medic, though, it was ideal duty, and Rat counted himself lucky. There was plenty of cold beer, 3 hot meals a day, a tin roof over his head, no humping at all, no officers either. You could let your hair grow, he said, and you didn't have to polish your boots or snap off salutes or put up with the usual rear echelon nonsense. The highest-ranking NCO was an E6 named Eddie Diamond, whose pleasures ran from dope to Darwin, and except for a rare field inspection, there was no such thing as military discipline. As Rat described it, the compound was situated on the top of a flat-crested hill along the northern outskirts of Tra Bang. At one end was a small dirt helipad. At the other, in a rough semicircle, the mess hall and medical hooches overlook a river called the Song Tra Bang. Surrounding the place were tangled rolls of concertina wire, with bunkers and reinforced firing positions at staggered intervals, and base security was provided by a mixed unit of RFs, PFs, and ARNV infantry, which is to say virtually no security at all. All soldiers, the ARVNs were useless. The rough and puffs were outright dangerous, and yet, even with decent troops, the place was clearly indefensible. To the north and west, the country... Okay, hold up. Okay, it's not too loud, right? Is the music too loud? I have this feeling it's too loud. No? Okay. As Rat described it, the compound was situated... Oh, I already said that one. Hold on. Decent troops, the place was clearly indefensible. To the north and west, the country rose up in thick walls of wilderness, triple-canopied jungle, mountains unfolding into higher mountains, ravines and gorges, and fast-moving rivers and waterfalls, and exotic butterflies and steep cliffs, and smoky little hamlets, and great valleys of bamboo and elephant grass. Rhetorical device. Polysyndeton. Originally, in the early 1960s, the place had been set up as Special Forces outpost. And when Rat Kiley arrived nearly a decade later, a squad of 6 Green Berets still used the compound as a base of operations. The Greenies were not social animals. Animals, Rat said, but far from social. They had their own hooch at the edge of the perimeter, fortified with sandbags and a metal fence. And except for the bare essentials, they avoided contact with the medical detachment. Secretive and suspicious, loners by nature, the 6 Greenies would sometimes vanish for days at a time, or even weeks. Then, late in the evening, they would just magically reappear, moving like shadows through the moonlight, filing in silently from the dense rainforest off to the west. Among the medics, there were jokes about this, but no one asked questions. While the outpost was isolated and vulnerable, Rat said he always felt a curious sense of safety there. Nothing much ever happened. The place was never mortared? I don't know that word, so we're going to write that one down. Page 88. The place was never mortared. Okay. I'm sore. Okay. Place was never mortared, never taken under fire, and the war seemed to be somewhere far away. On occasion, when casualties came in, there were quick spurts of activity, but otherwise the days flowed by without incident, a smooth and peaceful time. Most mornings were spent on the volleyball court. In the heat of the midday, the men would head for the shade, lazying away in the long afternoons. And after sundown, there were movies and card games, and sometimes all-night drinking sessions. That's nice. It was during one of those late nights that Eddie Diamond first brought up the tantalizing possibility. It was an offhand comment, a joke, really. What they should do, Eddie said, was pull some bucks and bring in a few mama-sans from Saigon, spice things up. And after a moment, one of the men laughed and said, "Our own little EM club." And somebody else said, "Hey, yeah, we pay our fucking dues, don't we?" It was nothing serious, just passing time, playing with the possibilities. And for a while they tossed the idea around, how you could actually get away with it, no officers or anything, nobody to clap down, and they dropped the subject and moved on to cars and baseball. Later in the night, though, a young medic named Mark Fossey kept coming back to the subject. "Look, if you think about it," he said, "it's not that crazy. You could actually do it." "Do what?" Rat said. "You know, bring in a girl, I mean. What's the problem?" Rat shrugged. "Nothing. A war." "Well, see, that's the thing," Mark Fossey said. "No war here. You could really do it. A pair of solid brass balls. That's all you'd need." There was some laughter, and Eddie Diamond told him that he'd best strap down his dick, but Fossey just frowned and looked at the ceiling for a while and then went off to write a letter. 6 weeks later, his girlfriend showed up. The way Rat told it, he came in by helicopter along with the daily resupply shipment out of Chulai. A tall, big-boned blonde. At best, Rat said, she was 17 years old, fresh out of Cleveland Heights Senior High. She had long white legs and blue eyes and a complexion like strawberry ice cream. Very friendly, too. At the helipad that morning, Mark Fossey grinned and put his arm around her and said, "Guys, this is Mary Ann." The girl seemed tired and somewhat lost, but she smiled. There was a heavy silence. Eddie Diamond, the ranking NCO, made a small motion with his hand, and some of the others murmured a word or two, and then they watched Mark Fossey pick up her suitcase and lead her by the arm down to the hooches. For a long while, the men were quiet. "That fucker," somebody finally said. At evening chow, Mark Fossey explained how he'd set it up. Expensive, he admitted, and the logistics were complicated, but it wasn't like going to the moon. Cleveland to Los Angeles, LA to Bangkok, Bangkok to Saigon. She'd hopped a C-130 up to Chulai and stayed overnight at the USO, and the next morning hooked a ride west with the resupply chopper. "A cinch," Fossey said, and gazed down at his pretty girlfriend. "Thing is, you got to want it enough." Mary Ann Bell and Mark Fossey had been sweethearts since grammar school. Since the 6th grade, they had known for a fact that someday they would be married, and live in a fine gingerbread house near Lake Erie, and have 3 healthy, yellow-haired children and grow old together, and no doubt die in each other's arms, and be buried at the same walnut casket. That was the plan. They were very much in love, full of dreams, and in the ordinary flow of their lives, the whole scenario might have come true. On the first night, they set up the house in one of the bunkers along the perimeter, near the Special Forces hooch, and over the next 2 weeks, they stuck together like a pair of high school steadies. Almost disgusting, Rat said, the way they moved over each other. Always holding hands, always laughing over some private joke. All they needed, he said, were a couple of matching sweaters. But among the medics, there was some envy. This was Vietnam, after all, and Mary Ann Bell was an attractive girl. Too wide in the shoulders, maybe, but she had terrific legs, a bubbly personality, a happy smile. The men genuinely liked her. Out on the volleyball court, she wore cut-off blue jeans and black swimsuit top, which the guys appreciated. Ew. And in the evenings, she liked to dance to music from Rat's portable tape deck. There was a novelty to it. She was good for morale. At times, she gave off a kind of come-get-me energy, coy and flirtatious, but apparently it never bothered Mark Fossey. In fact, he seemed to enjoy it, just grinning at her, because he was so much in love and because it was the sort of show that girl will sometimes put. It was a sort of show that a girl will sometimes put on for her boyfriend's entertainment and education. Though she was young, Rat said, Mary Ann Bell was no timid child. She was curious about things. During her first days in country, she liked to roam around the compound and asking questions. What exactly was a trip flare? How did a claymore work? What was behind those scary green mountains to the west? Then she'd squint and listen carefully while somebody filled her in. She had a good, quick mind. She paid attention. Often, especially during the hot afternoons, she would spend time with the ARVNs out along the perimeter, picking up little phrases of Vietnamese, learning how to cook rice over a can of sterno, how to eat with her hands. The guys sometimes liked to kid her about it. Our own little naive, they'd say, but Mary Ann would just smile and stick out her tongue. I'm here, she said. I might as well learn something. The war intrigued her, the land too, and the mystery. At the beginning of her second week, she began pestering Mark Fossey to take her down to the village at the foot of the hill. In a quiet voice, very patiently, he tried to tell her that it was a bad idea, way too dangerous, but Mary Ann kept after him. She wanted to get a feel for how people lived, what the smells and customs were. It did not impress her that the VC owned the place. Listen, it can't be that bad, she said. They're human beings, aren't there? Aren't they, like everybody else? Fossey nodded. He loved her. And so, in the morning, Rat Kiley and 2 other medics tagged along as security while Mark and Mary Ann strolled through the Ville like a pair of tourists. If the girl was nervous, she didn't show it. She seemed comfortable and entirely at home. The hostile atmosphere did not seem to register. All morning, Mary Ann chattered about how quaint the place was, how she loved the thatched roofs and naked children, how the wonderful simplicity of village life. A strange thing to watch, Rat said. This 17-year-old doll and her goddamn cluettes, perky and fresh-faced like a cheerleader visiting the opposing team's locker room. Her pretty blue eyes seemed to glow. She couldn't get enough of it. On their way back to the compound, she stopped for a swim in the Song Tra Bong, stripping down to her underwear, showing off her legs while Fossey tried to explain to her about things like ambushes and snipers and the stopping power of an AK-47. The guys, though, were impressed. A real tiger, said Eddie Diamond. D-cup guts, trainer bra brains. D-cup guts, trainer bra brains. That's funny. Okay. She'll learn, somebody said. Eddie Diamond gave a solemn nod. There's the scary part. I promise you, this girl will most definitely learn. In parts, at least, it was a funny story, and yet to hear Rat Kiley tell it, you'd almost think it was intended as straight tragedy. He never smiled, not even at the crazy stuff. There was always a dark, far-off look in his eyes, a kind of sadness, as if he were troubled by something sliding beneath the story's surface. Whenever he laughed, I remember, he'd sigh and wait it out. But the one thing he could not tolerate was disbelief. He'd get edgy if someone questioned one of your details. She wasn't dumb, he'd snap. I never said that. Young, that's all I said. Like you and me. A girl. That's the only difference. And I'll tell you something. It didn't amount to jack. I mean, when we first got here, all of us, we were real young and innocent, full of romantic bullshit, and we learned pretty damn quick. So did Mary Ann. Rat would peer down at his hands, silent and thoughtful. After a moment, his voice would flatten out. You don't believe it? He said. Fine with me. But you don't know human nature. You don't know Nam. None need tell us to listen up. A good sharp mind, Rat said. True, she could be silly sometimes, but she picked up on things fast. At the end of the second week, when 4 casualties came in, Mary Ann wasn't afraid to get her hands bloody. At times, in fact, she seemed fascinated by it. Not by the gore so much, but the adrenaline buzz that went with the job. The quick, hot rush in your veins when the chopper settled down and you had to do things fast and right. No time for sorting through operations, no thinking at all. You just stuck your hands in and started plugging up holes. She was quiet and steady. She didn't back off from the ugly cases. Over the next day or two, as more casualties trickled in, she learned how to clip an artery and pump up a plastic splint and shoot in morphine. At times, her face took on a sudden new composure, almost serene, the fuzzy blue eyes narrowing into a tight, intelligent focus. Mark Fossey would grin at this. He was proud, yes, but also amazed. A different person, it seemed, and he wasn't sure what to make of it. Other things, too. The way she quickly fell into the habits of the bush. No cosmetics, no fingernail filing, and she stopped wearing jewelry, cut her hair short and wrapped in a dark green bandana. Hygiene became a matter of small consequence. In her second week, Eddie Diamond taught her how to disassemble an M16, how the various parts worked, and from there it was a natural progression to learning how to use the weapon. For hours at a time, she plucked away at C-ration cans, a bit unsure of herself, and as it turned out, she had a real knack for it. There was a new confidence in her voice, a new authority in the way she carried herself. In many ways, she remained naive and immature, still a kid, but Cleveland Heights now seemed very far away. Yeah, an M16. Once or twice, gently, Mark Fossey suggested that it might be time for her to think about heading home, but Mary Ann laughed and told him to forget it. Everything I want, she said, is right here. She stroked his arm and kissed him. On one level, things remained the same between them. They slept together, they held hands and made plans for after the war. But now there was this new imprecision in the way Mary Ann expressed her thoughts on certain subjects. Not necessarily 3 kids, she'd say, not necessarily a house on Lake Erie. Naturally, we'd still get married, she'd tell him, but it doesn't have to be right away. Maybe travel first. Maybe live together. Just test it out, you know. Mark Fossey would nod at this, or even smile and agree, but it made him uncomfortable. He couldn't pin it down. Her body seemed foreign, somehow, too stiff in places, too firm where the softness used to be. The bubbliness was gone. The nervous giggling, too. When she laughed now, which was rare, it was only when something struck her as truly funny. Her voice seemed to recognize itself at a lower pitch. In the evenings, while the men played cards, she would sometimes fall into long elastic silences, her eyes fixed on the dark, her arms folded, her foot tapping out a coded message against the floor. When Fossey asked about it one evening, Mary Ann looked at him a real long moment, and then shrugged. "It's nothing," she said. "Really nothing. To tell the truth, I've never been happier in my whole life. Never." Twice, though, she came in late at night. Very late. And then she finally did not come in at all. Rat Kiley heard about it from Fossey himself. Before dawn one morning, the kid shook him awake. He was in bad shape. His voice seemed hollow and stuffed up, nasal-sounding, as if he had a bad cold. He held a flashlight to his hand, clicking it on and off. "Mary Ann," he whispered, "I can't find her." Rat sat up and rubbed his face. Even in the dim light, it was clear that the boy was in trouble. There were dark smudges in his eyes, the frayed edges of somebody who hadn't slept in a while. "Gone," Fossey said. "Rat, listen, she's sleeping with somebody. Last night, she didn't even... I don't know what to do." Abruptly, then, Fossey seemed to collapse. He squatted down, rocking on his heels, still clutching the flashlight. Just a boy, 18 years old, tall and blond, a gifted athlete, A nice kid, too. Polite and good-hearted, although, for the moment, none of it seemed to be serving him well. He kept clicking the flashlight on and off. "All right. Start at the start," Rat said. "Nice and slow. Sleeping with who?" "I don't know who. Eddie Diamond?" "Eddie? Has to be. The guy's always there, always hanging on her." The Rat shook his head. "Man, I don't know. Can't say it strikes a right note. Not with Eddie." "Yes, but he's—" "Easy does it," Rat says. He reached out and tapped the boy's shoulder. "Why not just check some bunks? We got 9 guys. You and me, that's 2. So there's 7 possibles. Do a quick body count." Fosse hesitated. "But I can't. If she's there, I mean, if she's with somebody." "Oh, Christ." Rat pushed himself up. He took the flashlight, muttered something, and moved down to the far end of the hooch. For privacy, the men had rigged up curtained walls around their cots. Small makeshift bedrooms in the dark, and in the dark, Rat went quickly from room to room, using the flashlight to pluck out the faces. Eddie Diamond slept a hard, deep sleep. The others, too. To be sure, though, Rat checked once more, very carefully. Then he reported back to Fosse. "All accounted for. No extras. Eddie?" "Darvon dreams." Rat switched off the flashlight and tried to think it out. "Maybe she's just, I don't know, maybe she camped out tonight. Under the stars or something. You searched the compound?" "Sure I did." "Well, come on," Rat said. "One more time." Outside, a soft violet light was spreading out across the eastern hillsides. 2 or 3 ARVN soldiers had built their breakfast fires, but the place was mostly quiet and unmoving. They tried the helipad first, then the mess hall and supply hooches, then they walked an entire 600 meters of perimeter. "Okay," Rat finally said. "We got a problem." When he first told the story, Rat stopped there and told Mitchell Sanders for a time, and looked at Mitchell Sanders for a time. "So, what's your vote? Where was she?" "The Greenies," Sanders said. "Yeah?" Sanders gave him a savvy little smirk. "No other option. That stuff about the Special Forces, how they used the place as a base of operations, how they'd glide in and out, all that had to be there for a reason. That's how stories work, man." Rat thought about it, then shrugged. "All right, sure, the Greenies. But it's not what Fosse thought. She wasn't sleeping with any of them. At least not exactly. I mean, in a way, she was sleeping with all of them, more or less. Except it wasn't sex or anything. They was just lying together, so to speak. Marianne and these 6 grungy, weirded-out Green Berets." "Lying down?" Sanders said. "You got it. Lying down how?" The Rat smiled. "Ambush. All night long, man. Marianne's out on fucking ambush." "That's insane, really?" Just after sunrise, Rat said, she came trooping in through the wire, tired looking but cheerful as she dropped her gear and gave Mark Fosse a brisk hug. The 6 Green Berets did not speak. One of them nodded at her, and the others gave Fosse a long stare, and they filed off to their hooch and the edge of the compound. "Please," she said, "not a word." Fosse took a half step forward and hesitated. It was as though he had trouble recognizing her. She wore a bush hat and filthy green fatigues. She carried the standard M16 automatic assault rifle. Her face was black with charcoal. Marianne handed him the weapon. "I'm exhausted," she said. "We'll talk later." So basically, this girlfriend came because he was like, "I want my girlfriend here." And then she's just like, "I'm a soldier now." And now she's like a completely different person. I mean, war changes people. So, I'm going to say that as my point. Who's going crazy? You already finished building it? Let me see. Hey guys, my brother just built this out of Legos. It's like a little Lego dinosaur. Okay, get out of here. Okay. Girlfriend, start acting different. I like how she's just a soldier now. Yeah, I think that's interesting as well. Like, they just, like, she went from being, like, this dainty little girl to being, I'm gonna carry an M16 and go on an ambush. Like, Jesus fuck, you know? Alright, we'll talk later. She glanced over at the Special Forces area, then turned and walked quickly across the compound toward her own bunker. Fossey stood still for a few seconds. A little dazed, it seemed. After a moment, though, he set his jaw and went after her with a hard, fast stride. Not later, he yelled. Now! What happened between them, Rat said, nobody ever knew for sure. But in the mess hall, that evening, it was clear that an accommodation had been reached. More likely, he said, it was a case of setting down some new rules. Marianne's hair was freshly shampooed. She wore a white blouse, a navy blue skirt, a pair of plain black flats. Over dinner, she kept her eyes down, poking at her food, subdued to the point of silence. Eddie Diamond and some of the others tried to nudge her into talking about the ambush. What was the feeling out there? What exactly did she see and hear? But the questions seemed to give her trouble. Nervously, she'd look across the table at Fossey. She'd wait a moment, as if to receive some sort of clearance. Then she'd bow her head and mumble out a vague word or two. There were no real answers. Mark Fossey, too, had little to say. Nobody business, he told Rat that night. One thing for sure, there won't be any more ambushes. No more late nights. You laid down the law? Compromise, Fossey said. I'll put it this way. We're officially engaged. Rat nodded cautiously. Well, hey, she'll make a sweet bride, he said. Combat ready. She'll make a sweet bride, combat ready. That's great. Puppy Power, you under my bed? My dog went under my bed. Bring that M16 to the wedding. Oh my god. It's like, man, he got so mad, and then, like, I feel like she's so sad because she enjoyed it so much. And think about, like, when this was. They weren't really having girls go to war, but she was definitely, like, really capable, and she knew what she was doing, enough so that the Green Berets were like, yeah, you can come with us on an ambush, like, and I think that it was sort of a pull down of, like, patriarchy that made her, like, now she has to dress girly again. She can't talk about the ambushes and go and do all the manly stuff. Has to stop doing soldier stuff. Because, who is it that said it again? Fossey. Alright. Over the next several days, there was a strained, tightly wound quality to the way they treated each other. A rigid correctness that was enforced by repetitive acts of willpower. To look at them from a distance, Rat said, you would think they were the happiest two people on the planet. They spent the long afternoon sunbathing together, stretched out side by side on top of their bunker, or playing backgammon in the shade of a giant palm tree, or just sitting quietly. A model of togetherness, it seemed. And yet, at close range, their faces showed the tension. Too polite, too thoughtful. Mark Fossey tried hard to keep up a self-assured pose, as if nothing bad had ever come between them, or even could. But there was a fragility to it. Something tentative and false. If Mary Ann happened to move a few steps away from him, even briefly, he'd tighten up and force himself not to watch her. But then a moment later, he'd be watching. In the presence of others, at least, they kept on their masks. Over meals, they talked about plans of huge wedding in Cleveland Heights, a 2-day bash, lots of flowers. And yet, even then, their smiles seemed too intense. I just realized it's up at my face and not at the book. There we go. They were too quick with their banter. They held hands as if afraid to let go. It had to end, and eventually, it did. Near the end of the 3rd week, Foss began making arrangements to send her home. At first, Rat said, Mary Ann seemed to accept it, but then, after a day or two, she fell into a restless gloom, sitting off by herself at the compound's perimeter. Shoulders hunched, her blue eyes opaque. She seemed to disappear inside herself. A couple of times, Fossey approached her and tried to talk it out, but Mary Ann just stared out in the dark green mountains to the west. The wilderness seemed to draw her in. A haunted look, Rat said. Partly terror, partly rapture. It was as if she had come up on the edge of something, as if she were caught in that no-man's land between Cleveland Heights and deep jungle. 17 years old. Just a child, blonde and innocent, but then weren't they all? The next morning she was gone. The 6 greenies were gone too. In a way, Rat said, poor Fossey accepted it, or something like it, but that did not help much with the pain. The kid couldn't function. The grief took him by the throat and squeezed and would not let go. Lost, he kept whispering. That makes me think of that scene in Lilo and Stitch, where Stitch goes out into the middle of the forest and he's like, lost! Okay. How many more pages till the end of this chapter? Ooh, still quite a few. Still gotta read all of this before this chapter's done. I think every chapter I'm gonna take a break and do a drawing or something. Or do something that isn't reading every chapter. Every long chapter, because I know some of the chapters are like a page, and obviously I'm not gonna stop every page. Like Church and Stockings, I'm gonna read those and then stop, because it's 2 chapters that equivalent to a kind of long. Okay. Also, I just realized my music stopped. Also, donations are appreciated. If you want to donate, that'll make me a very happy flip. So maybe please, do that, if you want to. Drink water for sure. I have a water bottle this time. It's a real water bottle. Okay, I'll change. I'm skipping this ad. Get some music on. Okay, one sec. Actually, it reminds me, I'm gonna get my, oh, my dog is sleeping on my carpet. Also, this is a bag of potato chips. Did I even bring, I think I brought my water bottle up here. Maybe I didn't, hold on. I guess I didn't. I gotta go get it. phone with me, that way I can look at chat while I'm gone. I'll be back. It's crazy, you watched all of them. And I have my water bottle now, my real water bottle. Nice cold water. And I just took some cough medicine, so I should be good. Alright. Got my blanket, got our music going. Got a nice candle that's gonna keep me smelling nice smells. Alright. I kind of wish there were more people here. You know what? Here, I'm gonna share the link again. I didn't do that yet this time. Got my every chapter. Oh, I have an idea. Okay, after every chapter, I'll be doing some free art for people who have been watching the stream. So if you want to participate in this little sort of contest free art thing, come the stream, and when I say post your ref, post it here and I'll pick one to draw. I will be doing this until I finish the book. So there are lots of chances. Link to stream. Okay. I'm trying to pick a picture to put as the background. I'm gonna go to favorites, see what I have there. Ooh! This one. Oh, this one? That works. And then I'm gonna also post the link one more time in the actual chat. Please read the description for info on the free art. Alright. And I'm going to post this a few more places. Okay. You are the only one. It is kind of sad. Also, thank you for calling me a good fur tuber. I try. Man, I thought free art would draw people in. I'm just gonna say free art YouTube stream. STREAM. There we go. Let's see. Let's see if that does anything. No one's joined it yet. I'm really surprised. Because usually anything that says free art, people like flock to so quickly. I'm glad you are enjoying the story. What's your favorite part so far? What's been your favorite part? Because I think you've been here since the very beginning. I think you've been here since the first or second chapter. I can't remember. Also, let me send you a picture. I'm going to go into Amino and send you the picture of the art I did for you yesterday. This was the first one. I'm really surprised nobody has joined the free art chat yet. That's not normal, I don't think. There. Yeah, but it's still just you. Ooh. Is it like just me that's strange? Pew pew. Enjoy the art. I'm very surprised no one has joined this yet. It literally says free art in the title. No one's joining. Am I going crazy? Did I just like pick a wrong time to make that post or something? Free art. I'm just gonna call it free art. Let's see if that changes anything. Trying to clickbait people in, man. Oh, the otter boy? Sure, if you want to. If you want to, Night Foxy. Go ahead. Okay, I got distracted. I need to keep reading. I'm gonna keep reading now. Lost, he kept whispering. It was nearly 3 weeks before she returned, but in a sense, she never returned. Not entirely, not all of her. By chance, Rat said. He was awake to see it. A damp, misty night, he couldn't sleep, so he'd gone outside for a quick smoke. He was just standing there, he said, watching the moon, and then, off to the west, a column of silhouettes appeared as if by magic, at the margin of the jungle. At first he didn't recognize her, a small soft shadow among 6 other shadows. There was no sound, no real substance either. The 7 silhouettes seemed to float across the surface of the earth, like spirits, vaporous and unreal. As he watched, Rat said, it made him think of some freaky opium dream. The silhouettes moved without moving. Silently, one by one, they came up the hill, passed through the wire, and drifted in a loose file across the compound. It was then, Rat said, that he picked out Mary Ann's face. Her eyes seemed to shine in the dark. Not blue, though, but a bright, glowing jungle green. She did not pause at Fosse's bunker. She cradled her weapon and moved swiftly to the Special Forces hooch and followed the others inside. Briefly, the light came on, and someone laughed, and the place went dark again. Oof. I was only here, and then I was like, well, guess that means it's time to skip, even though there's still all this whole paragraph. Alright. I am still so surprised that there is no one joining this free art chat. What? There's 2,000 people online and not one person has found this art chat. I put in the description, I said, after every chapter I'll be doing some free art for the people who have been watching the stream. So if you want to participate in this little sort of contest free art thing, come watch the stream, and when I say post your ref, post it here and I'll pick one to draw. I'll be doing this until I finish the book, so there's lots of chances, and then I have the link to the stream. And no one has joined. That is insane. Ah, I see there's 2 people watching now. Hello, Mr. Otter Boy. I forgot your name. I just know that you're an otter. Okay. Well, someone else is here. I don't know who it is, but they're here. Also, can you guys hear me okay, or is the music too loud? This is taking so long. I feel like I'm never gonna finish this. Nope, never mind. They left. There were 2 people, but someone left. Okay. I'm tired of reading out loud. Now there's 3. Wow. Alright, well, I'm gonna keep reading, since there's a little bit of an audience. I'm still surprised, I haven't seen anyone join the free art chat yet. Still waiting on that part. But, I'm like, baffled that there's no one joining the free art chat. Like, what is this? Who doesn't join a free... Like, it's a free art chat. Those things usually fill up so quickly.
Hi, Jesse. Hi, Minto. What are you up to? It's my first time busking today. I'm so excited right now. Cool.
Okay. Well, let's try this again. Alright, so I remade the chat. See if anyone joins. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I'm just gonna confirm got my BF here. Okay, well now, hello, Mr. Otterboy. I don't know what your name is. I just know that you are an otter. Because I low-key stalk Night Foxy's Amino account. Also, y'all are cute. I keep seeing, like, stuff on your walls and comments and stuff. Adorable. Alright. Man, my feet are cold. I'm just really surprised no one's joining it. Because usually people join free art chats a lot. I don't know. Okay. Well, we got a little audience here, so we're gonna go. You ready? Let's go. Okay. Whenever he told the story, Brad had a tendency to... Hello. Sorry, I am currently hating this song, so... Oh, perfect. Classical music for reading. Okay. Here we go. Whenever he told the story, Brad had a tendency to stop now and then, interrupting the flow, inserting a little clarifications or bits of analysis and personal opinion. It was a bad habit, Mitchell Sanders said, because all that matters is the raw material, the stuff itself. And you can't clutter it up with your own half-baked commentary. That just breaks the spell. It destroys the magic. What you have to do, Sanders said, is trust your own story. Get the hell out of the way and let it tell itself. But Rat Kiley couldn't help it. He wanted to bracket the full range of meaning. I know it sounds far out, he'd tell us, but it's not like impossible or anything. We all heard plenty of wackier stories. That was loud. Some guys come back from the bush, tells you he saw some Virgin Mary out there. Says she was riding a goddamn goose or something. Everybody buys it. Everybody smiles and asks how fast they are going. Did she have spurs on? Well, it's not like that. This Mary Ann wasn't no virgin, but at least she was real. I saw it. When she came in through the wire that night, I was right there. I saw those eyes of hers. I saw how she wasn't even the same person no more. What's so impossible about that? She was a girl, that's all. I mean, if it was a guy, everybody'd say, hey, no big deal. He got caught up in the nom shit. He got seduced by the greenies. See what I mean? You got these blinders on about women. Keith Ryan and Fluffy Otter, hello. Is it a good book? So far, it's been pretty good. We're reading The Things They Carry by Tim O'Brien, and we're about halfway through. Like I said, every chapter I'm going to be stopping, and when I stop, I'm going to pick a reference from that chat on Amino, and I'm going to be doing some free art. And I'll be doing that every single end of a chapter, so you don't even have to worry about not getting a chance. I'm sure I'll manage to get to everyone, as long as you stick around so that you can see when I say to send your ref and everything. Okay. Okay. Getting distracted. Anyways. Thank you! I love this t-shirt. It has this, fursuit head base, and then it has little scraps of fur, a hot glue gun, some scissors, and then it's got a needle and thread on this side. It's a really nice shirt, especially for me because I am a fursuit maker, so it's fun to wear. Okay, so let's keep going. We're almost done with this chapter, and then we'll be doing the first free art. Okay, because we're only, I think, 4 or 5 pages away. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, and in 4 pages I'll be doing the first free art. Well, actually, technically I'll be doing the second because I already did one for Night Foxy Demon yesterday. But, yeah. Okay. See what I mean? You got these blinders on about women. How gentle and peaceful they are. All that crap about how if we had a pussy for president, there wouldn't be no more wars. Pure garbage. You gotta get rid of that sexist attitude. Yes. I'm gonna put a blue note here. Impactful. I feel like this doesn't even look like annotations. I feel like it just looks like a mess of sticky notes. Alright. face reveal at 700 subs. I think I've already done face reveals and stuff, so I don't know. I don't really care about that stuff. I think me is me. Also, if we finish this book, I have a video I'm planning on posting. This is such a warm fire. I feel like I could boil a little pot of water. Right there. You have to clickbait it for views. Okay. I'm getting distracted. We gotta keep reading. You gotta get rid of that sexist attitude. Rat would go on like that until Mitchell Sanders couldn't tolerate it any longer. It offended his inner ear. The story, Sanders would say. The whole tone, man. You're wrecking it. Tone? The sound. You need to get a consistent sound, like slow or fast, funny or sad. All these digressions, they just screw up your story's sound. Stick to what happened. Frowning, Rat would close his eyes. Tone, he'd say. I don't know what it was. I didn't know it was all that complicated. The girl joined the zoo. One more animal and a story. Read the That's where I'll say when to send the refs. These over stream. Okay. Nova, shh, I'm enjoying the stream. I want to hear how the story ends. Alright. One more animal, end of story. Yeah, fine, but tell it right. At daybreak the next morning, when Mark Fossey heard she was back, he stationed himself outside of the fenced-off Special Forces area. All morning he waited for her, and all afternoon. Around dusk, Rat brought him something to eat. She has to come out, Fossey said. Sooner or later, she has to. Or else what? Rat said. I go get her. I bring her out. Rat shook his head. Your decision. I was you, though. No way I'd mess around with any greeny types. Not for nothing. It's Mary Ann in there. Sure, I know that. All the same. I'd knock real extra super polite. Even with the cooling night air, Fossey's face was slick with sweat. He looked sick. His eyes were bloodshot. His skin had a whitish, almost colorless cast. For a few minutes, Rat waited with him, quietly watching the hooch. And then he patted the kid's shoulder and left him alone. It was after midnight when Rat and Eddie Diamond went out to check on him. The night had gone cold and steamy, a low fog sliding around from the mountains. And out in the dark there was music playing. Not loud, but not soft either. It had a chaotic, almost unmusical sound, without rhythm or form or progression, like the noise of nature. A synthesizer, it seemed, or maybe an electric organ. In the background, just audible, a woman's voice was half singing, half chanting, but the lyrics seemed to be in a foreign tongue. They found Fossey squatting near the gate of the front Special Forces area. Head bowed, he was swaying to the music, his face wet and shiny. As Eddie bent down beside him, the kid looked up with eyes not quite in register, ashen and powdery. Okay. I'm so close to the end of this chapter, guys. I need a break. I need to draw something. I need to do something. Hello, cheetahs rarely crown. Okay. Yo, 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 yo. You, yo. Register, ashen and powdery. Hear that? He whispered. You hear? It's Mary Ann. Eddie Diamond took his arm. Let's get you inside. Somebody's radio, that's all it is. Move it now. Mary Ann, just listen. Sure, but listen! Fossey suddenly pulled away, twisting sideways, and fell back against the gate. He lay there with his eyes closed. The music, the noise, whatever it was, came from the hooch beyond the fence. The place was dark except for a small glowing window, which stood partly open, the panes dancing in bright reds and yellows, as though the glass were on fire. This is better than Audible or Kindle. That's funny. I don't know. I really enjoy doing readers theater kind of thing, where you read books out loud. This one I have to do for a class, but if I do this again, I'm gonna do a poll of which book I should read next. Specifically for my plan for clickbait worked. Well, yeah, but it's not necessarily clickbait though, because I am actually gonna do free art, so it's more of a, I don't know, I'm actually gonna do free art, it's not really clickbait. I just didn't call the stream free art, which is why nobody's joining the stream. They're like, ew, an audiobook. But now there's an incentive if you hang out. Incentive, hang out, get free art. Okay. Whoa! How'd you do that? Wait, I want to try that. Wait, I'm assuming you did this? Is this... Gasp! Oh my god, that's so cool! That's awesome. That's cool. How did you learn that? It's like a little, trick or something. Also, donations are appreciated, and also, I'm not biased or anything, but if you donate, I'm more likely to do your art, so... Did you just say gasp as an action? Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I'm weird. Gasp. I mean, I don't know, that's crazy. I never seen that before. I didn't know you could even do that. Okay. I seriously gotta keep reading. That way we can get to the free art. The place was dark except for a small glowing window, which stood partly open, the panes dancing in bright reds and yellows as though the glass were on fire. The chanting seemed louder now, fiercer too, and high-pitched. Fossey pushed himself up. He wavered for a moment, and then forced the gate open. That voice, he said, Mary Ann. Rat took a step forward, reaching out for him, but Fossey was already moving fast toward the hooch. He stumbled once, caught himself, and struck the door hard with both arms. There was a noise, a short screeching sound like a cat, and the door swung in, and Fossey was framed there for an instant, his arms stretched out, and then he slipped inside. After a moment, Rat and Eddie followed quietly. Just inside the door they found Fossey bent down on one knee. He wasn't moving. Across the room, a dozen candles were burning on the floor near an open window. The place seemed to echo with a deep wilderness sound, tribal music, bamboo flutes, and drums and chimes. But what hit you first, Rat said, was the smell. Two kinds of smells. There was a topmost scent of joss sticks and incense, like the fumes of some exotic smokehouse, but beneath the smoke lay a deeper and much more powerful stench. Impossible to describe, Rat said. It paralyzed your lungs, thick and numbing, like an animal's den, a mix of blood and scorched hair and excrement and the sweet, sour odor of molding flesh, and stink of the kill. But that wasn't all. On a post at the rear of the hooch was the decayed head of a large black leopard. Strips of yellow-brown skin dangled from the overhead rafters, and bones, stacks of bones, all kinds. To one side, propped up against the wall, stood a poster in neat black lettering. Assemble your own gook. Free sample kit. The images came in a swirl, Rat said, and there was no way you could process it all. Off in the gloom, a few dim figures lounged in hammocks, or on cots, but none of them moved or spoke. The background music came from a tape deck near the circles of candles, but the high voice was Mary Ann's. Mark Fossey started to get up and then stiffened. "Mary Ann?" he said. I don't even know how to start a podcast. I'm not good at podcasts. I don't know about that stuff. You'd have to educate me. So I think one is good. Quickly then, she stepped out of the shadows. At least for a moment, she seemed to be the same pretty young girl who had arrived a few weeks earlier. She was barefoot. She wore a pink sweater and white blouse and simple cotton skirt. For a long while the girl gazed down at Fossey, almost blankly, and in the candlelight her face had the composure of someone perfectly at peace with herself. It took a few seconds, Rat said, to appreciate the full change. In part, it was her eyes, utterly flat and indifferent. There was no emotion in her stare, no sense of the person behind it. But the grotesque part, he said, was her jewelry. At the girl's throat was a necklace of human tongues. Ew. Elongated and narrow, like pieces of blackened leather. The tongues were threaded along through the length of a copper wire, one tongue overlapping the next, the tips curled upward as if caught in a final shrill syllable. Just for a moment the girl looked at Mark Fossey with something close to contempt. There's no sense talking, she said. I know what you think. But it's not bad. Bad? Fossey murmured. It's not. In the shadows, there was laughter. One of the greenies sat up and lighted a cigar. The others lay silent. You're in a place, Mary Ann said softly, where you don't belong. She moved her hand in a gesture and encompassed not just the hooch, but everything around us. The entire war, the mountains, the mean little villages, the trails and trees and rivers and deep-misted over valleys. Oh, I love Shane Dawson. If Shane Dawson ever showed up to one of my streams or saw one of my videos, I'd probably die. Like, right then. I would just literally die. I'd be like, well, this is it. Guess it's my time. Bye. Okay. You don't know, she said. You hide in this little fortress behind wire and sandbags. You don't know. Sometimes I want to eat this place. The whole country. The dirt. The death. I just want to swallow it and have it there inside me. That's how I feel. I like this appetite. I get scared sometimes, lots of times, but it's not bad. You know? I feel close to myself. When I'm out there at night, I feel close to my own body. I can feel my blood moving, my skin and my fingernails, everything. It's like I'm full of electricity and I'm glowing in the dark. I'm on fire almost. I'm burning away into nothing. But it doesn't matter because I know exactly who I am. You can't feel like that anywhere else. All this was said without drama, as if to herself. Her voice slow and impassive. She was not trying to persuade. For a few moments, she looked at Mark Fossey, who seemed to shrink away. Then she turned and moved back into the gloom. There was nothing to be done. Rat took Fossey's arm, helped him up, and led him outside. In the darkness, there was that flipped-out tribal music, which seemed to come from the earth itself, from the deep rainforest, and a woman's voice rising up in a language beyond translation. Mark Fossey stood rigid. "Do something," he whispered. "I can't just let her go like that." Rat listened for a time, then shook his head. "Man, you must be deaf. She's already gone." Oh, rip. This poor dude. See, that's what you get for bringing her to war. That's what you get. You were selfish, and... Okay, so I'm gonna put the quote. "Man, you must be deaf. She's already gone." Blue. That's right, war changes people. Alright. Okay. Almost to the end. We're so close. I think 2 pages. 2 pages, and then I'll be doing the first free art drawing. So, and then the chapter after that is actually only, I think, 2 pages. So, the next couple of minutes will be chock-filled with art. Okay. Rat Kiley stopped there, almost in mid-sentence, which drove Mitchell Sanders crazy. "What next?" he said. "Next? That girl, what happened to her?" Rat made a small, tired motion with his shoulders. "Hard to tell for sure. 3-4 days later, I got orders to report to Alpha Company. Jumped on first chopper out, and that's the last I ever seen of the place. Mary Ann, too." Mitchell Sanders stared at him. "You can't do that." "Do what?" "Jesus Christ, it's against the rules," Sanders said. "Against human nature. This elaborate story. You can't say, 'Hey, by the way, I don't know the ending.' I mean, you got certain obligations." Rat gave a quick smile. "Okay, man. But, up to now, everything I told you is from personal experience. The exact truth. There's a few other things I heard second-hand. Third-hand, actually. From here on, it gets to be, I don't know what the word is. Speculation? Yeah, right." Rat took off to the west, scanning the mountains as if expecting something to appear on one of the high ridgelines. After a second, he shrugged. "Anyhow, maybe 2 months later I ran into Eddie Diamond over in Bangkok. Bangkok. I don't know. I was on R&R. Rest and recuperate. I don't know. R&R. It's like the break during a deployment. I was on R&R. Just this fluke thing. And he told me some stuff I can't vouch for with my own eyes. Even Eddie didn't really see it. He heard it from the greenies. So you gotta take this with a whole shaker full of salt. Oh, because you're gonna take it with a grain of salt, but take it with a whole shaker full of salt. So I'm gonna put a pink there for rhetorical device. There's like 3. I pulled like 3 of these things. Endless cycle of death with no defendants. Do you like Hamilton? Jesus, between all the reading and writing, I've been bleeding and fighting. We've got to handle our financial situation. Are we a nation, a state? What's the state of our nation? I'm past patiently waiting. I'm passionately smashing every expectation, every action is an act of creation. I'm laughing in the face. Alright. The ham speaks the truth. Hey, Flip. Hey, Wheelie Husky. It's a long time no see. Okay. Keep going. Let's go now. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I got distracted, so. Okay. I can't vouch with my own eyes. Even Eddie didn't really see it. He heard it from one of the greenies, so gotta take this with a whole shaker full of salt. Once more, Rat searched the mountains, then sat back and closed his eyes. You know, he said abruptly, I loved her. Say again? A lot. We all did, I guess. The way she looked. Mary Ann made you think about those girls back home. How pure and innocent they all are. How they'll never understand any of this, not in a billion years. Try to tell them about it, they'll just stare at you with those big round candy eyes. They won't understand zip. It's like trying to tell somebody what chocolate tastes like. Michael Sanders nodded. Or shit. There it is. You got to taste it. And that's the thing with Mary Ann. She was there. She was up to her eyeballs in it. After the war, man, I promise you, you won't find nobody like her. Suddenly, Rat pushed up to his feet, moved a few steps away from us, then stopped and stood with his back turned. He was an emotional guy. Got hooked, I guess, he said. I loved her. So when I heard from Eddie about what happened, it almost made me, like you say, it's pure speculation. Go on, Michael Sanders said. Finish up. What happened to her, Rat said, was what happened to all of them. You come over clean, and you get dirty, and then afterward it's never the same. A question of degree. Some make it intact, some don't make it at all. For Mary Ann Bell, it seemed, Vietnam had the effect of a powerful drug, that mix of unnamed terror and unnamed pleasure that comes as the needle spills in and out, and you know you're risking something. The endorphins start to flow, and the adrenaline, and you hold your breath and creep quietly through the moonlit nightscapes. You become intimate with danger. You're in touch with the far side of yourself, as though it's another hemisphere. You know, and you want to string it out and go wherever the trip takes you, and be a host to all the possibilities inside yourself. Not bad, she said. Vietnam made her glow in the dark. She wanted more. She wanted to penetrate deeper into the mystery of herself. And after a time, the wanting became needing, which turned then into craving. According to Eddie Diamond, who heard it from one of the greenies, she took a greedy pleasure in night patrols. She was good at it, and had the moves. All camouflaged up, her face smooth and vacant. She seemed to flow like water through the dark, like oil without sound or center. She went barefoot. She stopped carrying a weapon. There were times, apparently, when she took crazy death-wish chances, things that even greenies balked at. It was as if she were taunting some wild creature out in the bush, or in her head, inviting it to show itself, a curious game of hide-and-go-seek that was played out in the dense terrain of the nightmare. She was lost inside herself. On occasion, when they were taken under fire, Mary Ann would stand quietly and watch the tracer round snap by, a little smile at her lips, intent on some private transaction with the war. Other times she would simply vanish altogether, for hours, for days. And then one morning, all alone, Mary Ann walked off into the mountains and did not come back. No body was ever found, no equipment, no clothing. For all he knew, Rat said, the girl was still alive. Maybe up in one of those high mountain villas, maybe with the Montagnard tribes. But that was guesswork. Hey, Spider-Coon. Oh, it's Connor. Hi, Connor. She's dead. She might have died. Who knows? Like they said, it's all speculation. There was an inquiry, of course, and a week-long air search. And for a time, the Trabon compound went crazy with MP and CID types. In the end, however, nothing came out of it. Nothing came of it. It was a war, and the war went on. Mark Fossey was busted to PFC, shipped back to a hospital in the States, and 2 months later received a medical discharge. Mary Ann Bell joined the missing. RIP. But the story did not end there. If you believed the greenies, Rat said, Mary Ann was still somewhere out there in the dark. Odd movements, odd shapes, late at night when the greenies were out on ambush. The whole rain forest seemed to stare in at them, a watched feeling, and a couple of times they almost saw her sliding through the shadows. Not quite, but almost. She had crossed to the other side. She was a part of the land. She was wearing her cluotes, her pink sweater, and a necklace of human tongues. She was dangerous. She was ready for the kill. End of that chapter. We just got to page 110. So go ahead, send your refs now, and I will pick from there. If you made it this far, send your ref, and I'll pick from the refs that were sent. And then we'll get to the next one, which is only one page, actually, so there'll be another one right after this. It should be quick. So, book to the side, candle scoot over a little bit, and let's get out a paper to do some drawing. Wake up, Lieutenant. It's me, Connor, the android sent by Cyberspace. The ghost of Mark Zuckerberg from the future of Facebook. I'm sick. Alright. So the first one who sent their ref was Nova. I'm going to look at that. And they sent a ref for Ezekiel. Ezekiel looks like a fox. Yeah, fox. With this long blue hair. Let's see. Anybody else sending refs? Right now, we only have one person who sent their ref, so if you go into the, I'll grab the link to this chat. That way anyone who's here can go and post their ref if they want their character drawn. So I think you guys, yeah, you can click on that. That's the link to the Amino chat where you can post your ref, and I'll be doing some free art for the people that just sat through that whole long chapter. Good job if you made it. And let's see really quick. Ooh. Tyrone. Huggles, crybaby, edgy floof. Hates being called cute. Then, this is his clothes ref. He has pink blood. He looks like a watermelon. Okay, so right now there's actually only 2 refs to choose from. Ezekiel, which Ezekiel, you don't really have a full ref. If you maybe have another character that has a better ref, maybe I could do that because I don't think there's really enough for me to draw that. However, well, let's see. Yeah, no one else is posting anything, and in the YouTube chat, Slaps fursuit. This bad boy can fit so much cringe in it. Man, you're not wrong, Ice Bear Gaming. That's my new favorite thing. Okay. You already did mine. I did already do yours. So I'm gonna say send refs now in this chat, even though it kind of defeats the purpose because I wanted to make sure it was just people who are watching the stream who get it. So I'm actually going to I think I'm gonna do Tyrone for my buddy SpiderCon here. I think he is a wow. I think it's just a canine of some sort. What breed or species is your Sona, Connor? However, comma. Sorry, that's something my dad used to say all the time. And because my dad says it, I mean, I guess I said because when you write the word however, you write however and then you write however and then you put a comma because it's just, I don't know, that's just how you say it. You say however, comma. Like, you don't say however, comma, but when you write it, you write however, comma. So that's why I said that. Just a wolf. Alright. Well, so I'm actually going to do this thing really quick that I did yesterday. Oh god, I look like poop. Where I flip my camera around, like I flip it to make it upside down. That way you guys can see the way that I'm drawing the same way I'm seeing things being drawn. I think it worked out pretty well yesterday, so I'm going to do that again. So, now we've got, so you can see my hand is here, and you can see things kind of from my perspective. Yeah, I did forget to do it yesterday. I didn't notice until the end, but I figured it out this time. I'm not going to mess up this time. Bye, Fluffy Otter. Thanks for hanging out. Again, donations are appreciated. If anyone wants to donate, I'd be a happy bean. Also, the little green box, it'll pop up with whatever message you write in there. So, and I don't think I have anything blocked, so I mean, don't go crazy on me, but alright, so I'm actually gonna follow the ref with not the clothed ref, because I'm bad at that. It says he's a crybaby, so let's draw him crying. Let's draw him kind of like tearing up in sort of a chibi sort of look. So we're gonna add in these, we're gonna do these eyes here. Okay. And he is very sad. So, we're gonna give him very sad eyebrows. Sad, sad eyebrows. I'm gonna give him... This is how I draw crying eyes. Crying eyes, I just draw like... Instead of drawing the normal circles, I draw my circles all squiggly. Bruh, is that fun, Ryan? Alright, I will do Evelina next. And then I'll do I Eat Rats, I think. Because I think that's a cheetah. That's not really a reference. Ploof. Hello, Ploof. Okay. Anyways. So he's crying. I'm gonna give him his big... And then I'm gonna give him his little wolf snoot. And he's sad. Sad boy. Does he have a hair floof? Not really. Just has sort of hair. I'm gonna give him little sad ears. This is sort of a win-win situation for me because I need a break by drawing. Wait, no, he does have hair. His hair is a big hair floof. I didn't notice it until just now. Like that. That's how it is. Okay. Very, very sad. The poor bean is so very sad. Alright, let's check on the YouTube chat here. What cheetah? I'm one of the I can't rap. You know who I am. Yeah. Teach me how to draw, you wizard. JK lol. Somewhat. I don't remember you. Ah, there's a freaking red robin. Yum. I'm upside down. Shaitan. Okay, I'm actually gonna turn up the music a little bit while we're. We can get past this ad. Something in Korean, I don't understand. I don't speak Korean. Okay. Actually, is that better? Can you guys see better? No, you can't see better with the light on. Taking the horse by the reins, make a red coat spread it with blood stain. I'm never gonna stop until I make him drop and burn him up and scatter the remains. Lafayette! Tyrone is my boyfriend, lol. Oh, your boyfriend's a crybaby? They call me crybaby, crybaby. You don't understand. Right? You know that song? Give him his little teeth. He's so sad. there 2 Y's in baby or just one? There's just one. Oh, I made those letters way too small. Hold on. Sad. Who's this in-stream video? Okay, so I'm gonna line now. Like I said, when I'm doing these, I'm seriously taking like full-on break. I'm going from what I am doing to something completely different. That way I can concentrate for the rest of the time. So I'm just taking a quick mind break. I'm not gonna color it though because I don't know, I just don't feel like coloring today. I don't like coloring, however I do like lining, so I'm going to line it, and then I will either color it later, or I'll just send it uncolored. I like that little emoticon. Melanie Martinez Crybaby plays in the distance. What kind of rats, though? I used to have a pet rat. I loved my pet rat. I miss them. I had 2. Probably whenever I move out, I'll get another one. Rats are so sweet, and they're so smart. I'll either get that or I'll get a ferret. I mean, me, being the person I am, of course I want to get a ferret. Why do you eat rats? That's such a weird thing to consume. I eat, like, salad and candy. And occasionally a turkey sandwich. never rats. I'd never eat a rat. Unless, like, I was starving and it was the absolute only thing I could eat. Then maybe. But I definitely wouldn't eat it raw. That's how you get diseases and the plague and stuff. I'd have to cook it. Sorry, I turn the page when I line, so... I have this friend named Keeney, and I did this big, like, poster sort of art piece for them, and the lining took forever. It was the longest it's ever taken me to line anything. Like, I had a lot of fun making it. The lining just took so fucking long. Because I drew all 4 of her characters on one, like, poster size piece. It was about 2 of these is about the size that it was. So it definitely took a long while to line. I eat a human first? Night, Foxy. Don't say things like that. Yeah, Keith Ryan, cannibalism is a no-no. Yeah, cannibalism is a no-no. Night, you're cannibal. Don't be a cannibal. Cannibalism is not good. I don't feel like... Why do I need to say that? Like, I feel like I shouldn't need to say that. I should just know that cannibalism is not good. Humans are unhealthy anyway. Not wrong. What are you guys thinking so far? It's not cannibalism if I pretend to be a chicken. If I pretend it's chicken, no, it's still cannibalism. Venom? Like the Spider-Man dude? I'm bad at drawing tears and stuff. I'm still working on that. Also, SpiderCon, are we good on tea? Are we good on tea? Are we chill now? What's up with that? No more tea? Alright. Chill. Moist. He looks more scared than sad. So that's happy. It's too small. I'm not sure if you read, but Tyrone is not mine. It's my boyfriend's, and that's why I said thank you. The Ty is my boyfriend. No, I did read that. You said he's his Sona, he's not your Sona. That's a given considering the protagonist always wins, unless it's Infinity War or Cash Grab to make a sequel. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you, Charity. I still love your fursuit. I saw you yesterday, and I still think your fursuit is very cute. Honestly, it's Star-Lord's fault that Thanos won. If Star-Lord hadn't been being led by his emotions, then everyone would still be fine. Thanks, Star-Lord. You're supposed to be the saver of the universe, not the destroyer of many. time is it? Okay, good, it's only 1. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Also, I couldn't get over how Doctor Strange was just like, yep, it's almost a 100% chance that we're gonna lose. She's like, there's only one way to do it, and the only way that they could have won, Star-Lord messed up. Dang it, I creased the paper. I'm mad. I hate when that happens. Okay, I think that's pretty much done. I'd say that's done. Okay. There's that. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna take a picture of it to send it to. Send it to him. There we go. Completo. Alright. Now let me be right side up again. Again, donations are appreciated. If anybody wants to donate, I'll be very happy. So you can buy food or something. I'm starving. And also broke. Also, what the hell is up with my hand right now? It's like shaking so bad. Yay! It's gonna annoy me forever. My hand is shaking, so I can't get it to stay still long enough for me to fix it. Ah, dang it. There, okay. Woo! Let's see what Strain is saying. Alright, I'm about to start reading the next part. And then after that chapter, I'll be doing the next the next drawing for. Okay. Alright, so now let's get this art stuff out of my way so I don't get distracted for this next chapter, and then we can take it right back out. So we've got my nice warm candle right here. Put it over in the corner so it's not distracting, because I actually have a different candle today than I had yesterday. Yesterday I had my itty bitty candle. They couldn't have used the time stone. Thanos already had it. Okay. Alright. Now remember, you have to stick around for the actual reading part. Otherwise, you do not qualify for free art. But Strange was like, nope, here you go. Alright. Let's turn back on the other music we had, because that was going good. Right? I said gonna go back to reading and almost everyone left. There's only 4 people now. There were like 9 people watching and almost everyone's gone now. They're like, oh, they're gonna read again. That darn reading. Okay. Oh, I know that song. Let's skip. Can you guys hear the music? Now there's 3 people. See, I told you this was coming. Now there's 2 people. It's just slowly declining. So sad. Alright. Let's get into this. Next chapter. The next one is called Stockings. So this one's probably about Henry Dobbins. Just because Henry Dobbins was the one that wore the pantyhose stocking things around his neck, wasn't he? Okay. Stockings. Oh yeah, I was right. Henry Dobbins. Okay. Henry Dobbins was a good man and a superb soldier. But sophistication was not his strong suit. The ironies went beyond him. In many ways, he was like America itself, big and strong, full of good intentions, and a roll of fat jiggling in his belly, slow of foot, but always plodding along, always there when you needed him, a believer in the virtues of simplicity and directness and hard labor. Like his country, too, Dobbins had drawn towards sentimentality. Even now, 20 years later, I can see him wrapping his girlfriend's pantyhose around his neck before heading out on ambush. I'm getting a strange phone call. from some random Korean. Let's see.
신용 등급 상관없이 연체만 없으시다면 당일 대출 가능하십니다. 자금이 필요하시다면 1번을, 거부는 9번을 눌러주세요.
I don't speak Korean. Oh, it hung up on me. I don't know what's happening. Not gonna lie, Dr. Strange was a prick in the movie. He was. Dr. Strange makes me think of my current math teacher, Mr. Pollock. If Mr. Pollock is watching this, which I very, very highly doubt, then you remind me of Dr. Strange. Okay. Alright, now, after that strange interruption of a random Korean, let us continue. Henry Dobbins was a good man, and a superb soldier, but sophistication was not his strong suit. The ironies went beyond him. In many ways, he was like America itself, big and strong, full of good intentions, a roll of fat jiggling at his belly, slow of foot but always plodding along, always there when you needed him, a believer in the virtues of simplicity and directness and hard labor. Like his country, too, Dobbins had drawn toward sentimentality. Even now, 20 years later, I can see him wrapping his girlfriend's pantyhose around his neck before heading out on ambush. It was his one eccentricity. That's a fun word that I don't know. What page is this? 111. It was his one eccentricity. Okay. The pantyhose, he said, had the properties of good luck charm. He liked putting his nose into the nylon and breathing in the scent of his girlfriend's body. He liked the memories this inspired, and he sometimes slept with the stockings up against his face, the way an infant sleeps with a flannel blanket, secure and peaceful. That is a rhetorical device. More than anything, though, the stockings were a talisman for him. They kept him safe. They gave access to a spiritual world where things were soft and intimate, a place where he might someday take his girlfriend to live. Like many of us in Vietnam, Dobbins felt the pull of superstition, and he believed firmly and absolutely in the protective power of the stockings. They were like body armor, he thought. Whenever we saddled up for the late-night ambush, putting on our helmets and flak jackets, Henry Dobbins would make a ritual out of arranging the nylons around his neck, carefully trying a knot, draping the two leg sections over his left shoulder. There were some jokes, of course, but we came to appreciate the mystery of it all. Dobbins was invulnerable. Never wounded, never a scratch. In August, he tripped a bouncing Betty, which failed to detonate. That is insane. Oh my god. He stepped on a landmine and it failed to detonate. That is some serious luck right there. Serious luck. That is some serious luck. That he stepped on a landmine and it failed to detonate. That's insane. Maybe. I did just recently make a whole bunch of those. Like, you know those little slide pictures that are like the character? It's not like an animation. It's just sort of like a picture of them like being like, here. It's like they're like, ah, and then they're like, ah, and they're like, and it's just like a bunch of pictures like that you like put together while someone is like vlog talking, like Cathorix does. Cathorix, I can't say his name. I just recently made one of those after watching a couple of those videos and be like, this would be fun to do with Flip, and I've tried it one other time, except I did it super quick and it was awful. So I made a whole bunch of those and actually have a video ready and edited that I'm planning on putting out this evening if I finish this book. If I don't finish the book, I will not be putting it out this evening, which is why I want to finish this book so I can put it out sooner. If not, it probably won't be out till Friday, and it's already done, so I want you guys to see it. Okay. We're almost done with this chapter, then I can do the next piece of art. So let's pay attention. We're almost done. And a week later, he got caught in the open during a fierce little firefight. No cover at all, but he just slipped the pantyhose over his nose and breathed deep and let the magic do its work. As it turned us into a platoon of believers. You don't dispute facts. But then, near the end of October, his girlfriend dumped him. It was a hard blow. Dobbins went quiet for a while, staring down at her letter. Then, after a time, he took out the stockings and tied them around his neck as a comforter. No sweat, he said. The magic doesn't go away. That's a good... You know what? You get an impactful, sir. Because that's a very good way to look at it. You can't let a relationship ruin your whole life. It's good to think positively. Me on Dobbins' part. Okay, so we've now finished stockings. It was only 2 pages, so I'm not surprised that we finished that quickly. Guess what time it is? Drawing time. Alright, send your roughs. Go ahead, guys. I think actually if... Actually, answer this question. Answer this question in the free art chat that I made on... In the free art chat that I made on Amino. Okay? What did Henry Dobbins wear around his neck that gave him good luck? If you answer that question either in chat, in the YouTube chat, or in the free art chat, either in the free art chat or in the YouTube chat, if you answer that correctly, then the first person to answer it right will be the person I draw. So, again, the question is, what did Henry Dobbins wear around his neck Oh, alright, someone answered. He wore pantyhose. Nova, you are right, therefore I'm going to draw you next. That was good. Thank you. You were actually listening to the story. I'm going to do that, actually, to make sure that the people that are getting free art are actually paying attention and listening to the story, because you gotta work for it. You know, it's not really free. It's not really free. You gotta learn. You gotta read this book with me and understand it and comprehend it. And if you do that, then that's how you get the free art. That's how. Don't message me at all, not against you, be right back. Okay? I'm invested in the story, ooh woo. Cough, cough, clickbait, cough. Okay. So, Nova, here's a better ref you sent. You said... Alright, so what is she? She is a stoat? A stoat? Oh, like, you know Pencer Pine? Pencer Pine's a stoat, too. They kind of look like ferrets. They're kind of like ferrets. Alright. Let's get out a piece of paper. I don't have any more paper sitting right there, so I'm gonna actually have to get one from a separate source or something. Yeah, it's gonna take me a quick second. I gotta find. Oh, I know what I can use. This paper's kind of thin, but I think it'll be okay. Okay. I feel like I need to, like, get up and stretch. I've been sitting here for so many hours. It's been 2 hours, 30 minutes that we've been streaming. And we are now more than halfway done with the book. So, we're getting somewhere. Alright. Where's that pencil? Here we are. I'm getting notifications now. It's from different things, though. Okay. Nova. Nova has this red hair, dots, snake bites. Okay. Ooh, I haven't drawn on this paper yet. This is the first time I'm drawing on this paper. Also, let me turn this. This is gonna take forever to fix back again, but whatever. There. Can y'all see it? Let's see how it looks on stream. I'll actually go check. Let's see how. Well, you can't really see that at all. I'm with the light on. Can't really see that at all. I'm with the light on. Oh, that's not better. Okay, so. Dang. Do I have a darker colored, like a darker pencil? Does this? Oh, that writes way darker. Okay, let's try this one then. Yeah, that's way better. Alright, I'm gonna use that. Free art. That's great clickbait. That's great right there. Okay, so a stout. They have round ears, like this. Round ears. You said that, okay, so she has this hairline here. Looks to me like you have her hair up in, like, some way, like it's up in some way, so I'm just gonna... And she's got this very curly hair. If I owed a credit card, I could have donated, but I do not. You can also use PayPal. You don't have to use a card. You can actually donate using PayPal. So, if you do have a PayPal and you want to donate, they're very much appreciated. Donations are very much appreciated. So, if you want to donate, it would really make my day. And if you have a PayPal, it would really make my day if you donated. And any amount helps, even like $1. I think that's the lowest you can donate. I don't think they let you donate later, smaller amounts than that. But no matter how much you donate, I'll still be very happy if anyone donates. I don't think it does. Because it's kind of like just like an online currency. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it requires you to have a bank set up with it. I actually don't know. Should I start a YouTube channel? I would start a YouTube channel if you want to make content. I would start a YouTube channel if you feel like you already know what type of content you would want to create. Because I started my channel out of boredom, not even kidding. I had broken my leg. I had no clue what to do. I was just sitting in my bed and I was like, you know what? So if you know what you want to do, then I say make it. Does she have any earrings? He doesn't have earrings. Okay. I don't know, it feels like she would have like an earring or a gauge or something. Like right here. I'm just gonna add it in. I feel like it would fit really well to this character. I don't hate this. I think this turned out pretty cute. Oh, wrong marker. That would have been bad. There we go. Oof. I almost had it right there. There. Aha. So there we go. I'm going to turn my lights on to take a picture of it. There we go. Okay. You know what time it is. Oh, I'm so tired. I feel like I need lunch or something. What time is it? It's almost 2. Okay, I'll read the next chapter. Then I'm gonna end the stream just for a little while so I can go eat. And then I'll bring it back and we'll keep reading. Alright. So, next chapter. Which the next chapter is called Church. And it is 3 pages long. And then the one after that is another long one. Actually, no. That one's not long. That one's not long. That one's not long. The next long one is Courage. Courage is long, and then I think In the Field is long. Yeah, In the Field is long. So Courage. In the Field. Good Form is short. Field Trip. Kind of short. Yeah, Field Trip is short. The Ghost Soldiers. That one's long. The Ghost Soldiers is the long one after that. Then after the Ghost Soldiers is Nightlife, which is quick. The Lives of the Dead, which is the last long one. And the last one, Lives of the Dead. Okay. So that is a no on the podcast. I'm not saying I won't do a podcast. I just don't know how I would set it up, when I would do it or anything. I've never really thought about doing podcasts. I could do it, though. Have a break. Have a Kit Kat. I'll have a break after we read Church. Because Church is kind of short, but not too short. And then this is actually where I wanted to stop yesterday, but my mom actually said, Flip, go to bed. Obviously, they didn't say Flip, they said my real name, but they said, it's time to go to bed. So, it was almost midnight, and I was like, you know what, I probably should go to bed. And then I'll just get up early and just read tomorrow. I didn't start reading yesterday until 5 o'clock. So, yeah. Okay, so Church. One afternoon, somewhere west of the Batagan Peninsula, we came across an abandoned pagoda. Or almost abandoned, because a pair of monks lived there in a tar paper shack, tending a small garden with some broken shrines. They spoke almost no English at all. When we dug our foxholes in the yard, the monks did not seem upset or displeased, though the younger one performed a washing motion with his hands. No one could decide what it meant. The older monk led us into the pagoda. The place was dark and cool, I remember, with crumbling walls and sandbagged windows, and a ceiling full of holes. It's bad news, Kaiwa said. Don't mess with churches. But we spent the night there, turning the pagoda into a little fortress, and then, for the next 7 or 8 days, we used the place as a base of operations. It was mostly a very peaceful time. Each morning, the 2 monks brought us buckets of water. They giggled when we stripped down to bathe. They smiled happily while we soaked up and splashed one another. On the 2nd day, the older monk carried in a cane chair for the use of Lieutenant Jimmy Cross, placing it near the altar area, bowing and gesturing for him to sit down. The old monk seemed proud of the chair, and proud that such a man as Lieutenant Cross would be sitting in it. On another occasion, the younger monk presented us with 4 ripe watermelons from his garden. He stood watching until the watermelons were eaten down to the rinds, and he smiled and made the strange washing motion with his hands. Washing motion? Like this? I wonder what that means. It sounds like mischievous. That's like, Like, that looks like a mischievous thing. You know, you, me, and Keith, Discord, make jokes, talk about topics, and one of us plays a simple game like checkers or something. It'll be fun. Put on YouTube channel. Maybe we could do it for your channel, Night Foxy, if you make a channel. I'd be down to do that. Yeah, just message me. And did the strange washing motion with his hands. Though they were kind to us, though they were kind to all of us, the monks took a special liking for Henry Dobbins. Soldier Jesus, they'd say. Good soldier Jesus. Good soldier Jesus. Squatting quietly in the cool pagoda, they would help Dobbins disassemble and clean his machine gun, carefully brushing the parts with oil. The 3 of them seemed to have an understanding, nothing in words, just in a quietness they shared. You know, Dobbins said to Kaiwa one morning, after the war, maybe I'll join up with these guys. Join how? Kaiwa said. Wear robes. Take the pledge. Kaiwa thought about it. That's a new one. I didn't know you were all that religious. Well, I'm not, Dobbins said. Beside him, the 2 monks were working on the M60. He watched them take turns, turning oiled swabs through the barrel. I'm not the churchy type. When I was a little kid, way back, I used to sit there on Sundays counting the bricks in the wall. Church wasn't for me. But then in high school, I started to think how I'd like to be a minister. Free house, free car, lots of potlucks. It looked like a pretty good life. You're serious? Kaiwa said. Dobbins shrugged his shoulder. What's serious? I was a kid. The thing is, I believed in God and all that, but it wasn't the religious part that interested me. Just being nice to people, that's all. Being decent. Right, Kaiwa said. Visit sick people, stuff like that. I would have been good at it, too. Not the brainy part, not sermons and all that, but I'd be okay with the people part. Henry Dobbins was silent for a time. He smiled at the older monk, who was now cleaning the machine gun's trigger assembly. But anyways, Dobbins said, I could never be a real minister because you have to be super sharp. Upstairs, I mean. It takes brains. You have to explain some hard stuff, like why people die or why God invented pneumonia and all that. He shook his head. I just didn't have the smarts for it. And there's a religious thing, too. All these years, man, I still hate church. Maybe you'd change, Kaiwa said. Henry Dobbins closed his eyes briefly, then laughed. One thing for sure, I'd look spiffy in those robes they wear. Just like Fair Tuck. Just like Friar Tuck. Isn't that the dude from, Friar Tuck? Friar Tuck. Isn't Friar Tuck from Romeo and Juliet? I think that would be an illusion, right? Illusion? Which is like making a reference to something. Things are born, they live, then they stop forever. And that's a quote right there. One thing's for sure, I'd look spiffy in those robes they wear, just like Friar Tuck. Maybe I'll do it. Find a monastery somewhere, wear a robe, and be nice to people. Sounds good, Kaiwa said. The two monks were quiet as they cleaned and oiled the machine gun. Though they spoke almost no English, they seemed to have a great respect for the conversation, as if sensing that important matters were being discussed. The younger monk used a yellow cloth to wipe dirt from the belt of ammunition. What about you? Dobbins said. How? Well, you carry that Bible everywhere. You hardly swear or anything, so you must... I grew up that way, Kaiwa said. Did you ever, did you think about being a minister? No, not ever. Dobbins laughed. An Indian preacher. Man, that's one I'd love to see. Feathers and buffalo robes. Kaiwa lay on his back, looking up at the ceiling, and for a time he didn't speak. Then he sat up and took a drink from his canteen. Not a minister, he said, but I do like churches. The way it feels inside. It feels good when you just sit there like you're in a forest and everything's real quiet, except there's still this sound you can't hear. Yeah. You ever feel that? Sort of. Kaiwa makes a noise in his throat. This is all wrong, he said. What? Setting up here. It's wrong. I don't care what. It's still a church. Dobbins nodded. True. A church, Kaiwa said. Just wrong. When the two monks finished cleaning the machine gun, Henry Dobbins began reassembling it, wiping off the excess oil. Then he handed each of them a can of peaches and a chocolate bar. Okay, he said. Diddy Mao, boys. Beat it. The monks bowed and moved out of the pagoda into the bright morning sunlight. Henry Dobbins made the washing motion with his hands. You're right, he said. All you can do is be nice. Treat them decent, you know? Alright, so I only got one annotation this chapter. The basic is that... Okay, I'll get an orange. Put it here. I'll say, why is it wrong to set up in a church? Okay, end of that chapter. The next chapter is a long-ish one. It's only, I think it's 4 pages. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it's about the same amount. So my question is, I'm gonna get a question. Hold on. What did Henry Dobbins want to be when he was younger? What did Henry Dobbins want to be when he was younger? When he was a teenager, what did he want to be? So answer that question in either of the chats, and if the first one who answers it right will be the one that I draw. What did Henry Dobbins want to be when he was growing up, when he was a teen? Oh, and why did he decide not to do it? Nova Lumen says, Flip, I already know the answer, but because I already got my art, I'm not going to answer it. Well, this seems like you're the only people being active in this chat, so let me just pick some random person from the free art chat. Like here, the person who is the I eat rats dude, I can eat rats dude, let's draw him. Alright. Doop, doop. Okay, so just so you guys can see, that is how much we've already read. So we are already more than halfway done with this book. There it is. Now you can see better. We're a little bit more than halfway done. And I don't think this will take us too long to read through. I've got annotations all through the edge. So. Okay. So now, alright, so Rennie Tintin. Did Rennie Tintin send? Rennie Tintin can send their reference. Rennie Tintin, you can send your reference now. I don't know if they're watching the stream, though. If they're not watching the stream, then I guess they don't get the art. If they're watching the stream, though, and they hear me say this, then they're good. Ding, ding, ding. Good job. They are watching the stream. Oh, that's cute. I'm watching. That's funny. Alright, so we're going to draw... Actually, you know what? Because you're actually being, like, active, and the I can eat rats dude isn't, let's draw your buddy. Alright. So, do you mind if I draw them feral, or do you only like them drawn anthro? Either way. Alright. Wow, the feedback time is actually going real speedy, because I just barely said that and I got a response very quickly. So there's very minimal lag right now, which I am happy about. Okay. Now we're gonna draw this puppo, this wolf. And I'm gonna try and do a little bit of a feral one, just because I don't know. I just feel like drawing feral right now. I found it a little bit more entertaining than just drawing anthro, because, like, everybody's always drawing anthro, you know? It's like, I like having a little bit of a difference. And plus, not a lot of people have the anthro version of their characters, and some people who only have anthro versions of their characters, I will go and draw feral versions of their characters for them, because they don't have those. Those ears are too big to be wolf ears, but I'm too lazy to go back and change it now. So we're more than halfway done with the book. Any comments? Anybody want to say anything about what we've read so far? What your opinions are on this book so far? I'd love to hear them. Man, you gotta make these feet all complicated. Okay. Okay. I actually am currently hating this. Not the head. I like how the head looks, but that body is terrible. I mean, they're not, but just, like, I put the head and the body, like, I put the head in the wrong place compared to the body, so the individual parts are good, but because I can't, like, stop and fix it. Okay, I know that's horrible. That's that looks like a dude. I'm just gonna turn this into a headshot. You know what? Screw it. Sorry. I feel like the ears are also in the wrong place for a wolf, because this is giving me, like, hyena and, like, African wild dog vibes right now, so I gotta fix this. Pull the video up on my Chromebook with the chat on my iPad. Lol. Want to hear a joke about pizza? Sure. Never mind. It's too cheesy. Lol. Right now, if you see this, put ooh woo in the art chat. Notice me, Senpai Flip. I've noticed you. If an amputee or snuggie, I don't think it'd be morally wrong to call them a stubby. No, it'd still be wrong. I love the book so far. It got all these twists and turns and keeps you guessing, you know? What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef? Ground beef, yeah. What do you call a cow with 2 legs? Lean beef. I haven't heard that one before. How does the moon shave its beard? Flip has a lot to read in chat. Well, how does the moon shave its beard? Eclipse. Eclipse it. Oh, okay, I get it. It's alright, I've been going back and forth between the chats, too. I just go back and read things when I miss them. Let me turn this up a little bit for you guys. Oh, I liked how this one turned out. This one's cute. It's upside down still. Is it? Is it upside down? Yeah, whatever. There. I actually really like how this one turned out. I think I'm going to color it. Yeah, I'm going to color this. Oh, heck. Give me just a minute to grab my color pencils. I need purple, light blue, light blue. Purple? Do I have a purple? It's dark blue. Do I have a purple though? It's magenta, that's like a pinkish. I thought I had a lilac pencil. The main color for the ears is what? Turquoise? What did you say? I'm missing my turquoise and I'm missing two of my main color pencils that I use the most. Well, I'll just have to grab my other color pencils. Oh, there it is. Found it. Now I just need the gray. Gray. I gotta find my normal purple, not just my lilac. Because it looks like it has darker purple ears, so. This one says it's purple. I don't know if I believe it, but it says it's purple, so. there we go. I actually like how this one turned out quite a bit. Very happy with this one. Proud. Right. This is also a Steven Universe thing. I can hold it upside down and you guys can see it right side up. That's fun. Okay. Anybody else adoring this classical right now? I hope someone donates. I need money. I'll send you another picture of it later. Okay, so I'm gonna end the stream for just a little while. Go get food. So we're gonna try to like stand up, take a break like that. Let me transition this. Oops. And then I will be back. And we will hopefully finish the book in the next stream. I'm gonna collect some snacks, I'm gonna eat some stuff, I'm gonna have like a meal. So, okay, anyways, let me check this. See y'all have been chatting on here. Needs bottle. Hi Flippin', how the book going? It's going good. Faye Houdini. Yeah, someone got my reference. Flippin', I'll be off since it's almost 2 a.m. for me. But let me know how the story ends on a meal. Keith.exe is with the chat. XD. Alright. Well, I actually am very hungry, and I think that eating will improve my mood and help this reading go smoother. So, I will be back very soon. It'll be about 30 minutes from now. I will restream. Yeah. So, thank you for everybody who's been hanging out, and I'm gonna keep doing the free art every chapter. So, keep an eye out for that. And spread it around. Spread this around. Share it to tell your friends to come and watch this. And again, donations are appreciated. Alright.